Hey man,
Hey man, how are you? You're looking nice and comfy there.
yeah, I managed to squeeze in a really quick shower between the last interview and this one, so you have to excuse
Oh,
me.
nah, dude. Hey, living the dream. You're in India at the moment, right? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they were leaving in basically half an hour to make the trip over to you guys. So.
Oh, dude. I think it was last week. We were meant to have a chat last week, but
I think
you
so. Yeah,
like run to the airport and then, man, it's just go, go, go for you. Hey,
pretty much. Yeah.
what are they going to give you a break? Cut you some slack, you know?
We get a few hours in Brisbane apparently. So yeah.
A few hours. Like, that's cool. But hey, man, we're pretty stoked you're coming back. It's been a little while since we've spoken. Last time wasn't visual; it was over the ye old telephone. So, man, it's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, likewise. And I'm really excited to be coming back. It's as you say, it's been what 5, 6 years. So yeah.
Been that long,
Yeah, I was on the last album cycle.
dude. I don't even know where that time's gone. But man, like this
Uh,
tour is everyone's really really pumped. I mean, this is of course part of the war of being world tour, not just a little tour, the world tour, and it's already sold out in some places, and others are not far behind. I mean, like, how does that make you sort of feel? You know, you're going places, you're gonna get that good response. It's not just you know your
I
average.
mean, I guess it's a relief that it's not going backwards, I guess. I know. I think with Tesseract though, it's always been like a slow growth, slow burn band. Like we've been building and building for, coming up to 2 decades now, and it's just amazing to see how well the new album's been received and the amount of people that are going to show out to come and watch it this time around. Like we couldn't be happier.
Yeah, it's going to be unreal, man. I mean, the tour started back in October in the US. Um,
Mm.
and now it's the tail end of it, right? Like, you, how's the run been so far up until this point?
Yeah, well, it's the tail end of everything announced so far. So we've actually got a whole bunch more that's going to be announced soon. Um, but yeah, it's been awesome. It's been really lovely to see how there's been a whole new generation of kind of Tesseract fans coming out. Like lots of people seeing us for the first time, lots of younger people who have discovered us in the last 5 years. Um, and so yeah, I think it just feels really good that it's been well received and we get to do this.
So you said you've got more on the way. Have you got more in the tank to keep going, or do you? Because that was a long run, man. It's been go go go. You know, with what's coming up, you're going to take a little bit of a break in between, or you're just going to go straight into it.
No, I think basically for the next 18 months we've got a pretty packed schedule. But we are trying to next year put aside some time to to basically be at home, be static, and and also start thinking about new material. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much constant until the middle of well towards the end of 2025, which is quite daunting because that's a while away.
Yeah, man. Like, and I mean, look, it'll probably go like that. It'll be pretty quick. But, you know,
Mm.
does that, I mean, when you think about that schedule, does it still get you excited to hit the road or, you said daunting before, but, is it pretty, it sort of weighs on you a little bit knowing that you've got still so much of this cycle to go?
I mean, it's exciting. I think we really love doing this. We love performing, uh, and we love going to new places. And yeah, I think the excitement's still there, and we've got a really great team working with us as well. So it's all very smooth and very easy. And yeah, I think it in terms of like how long it is, it's just best not to think about it really.
You just keep going. You go, don't tell me. No, where are we next? Yeah, don't tell me. But mate, the latest album, of course, War of Being, is just absolutely phenomenal, dude. Everyone I know loves it. Shout out to Ben who reviewed it for us. He loved it. But now,
Mm.
how's it been received live? Like some of these tracks with the older material, some of the classic stuff.
It's been received really well. We're playing a lot of War of Being in the set. I think we're doing 4 or 5 songs. I think four actually on this one. Um, and it's going down really well. People are singing along and getting into it as much as the older stuff, I think, which is great to see. Again, I think that's a lot of that new generation of
Mm.
um, uh, people into the band that have maybe come in on this album or discovered us over COVID, and this is their first new album, and they've heard us. So that's kind of cool. And it's quite nice to have some of the older songs move from being like, I guess, like the newer songs now into sort of more like, I was gonna say classic territory because that sounds wanky. I don't mean that, but like some some songs which we did consider new for ages have now to the audiences have become more like uh, the ones from the back catalogue they really want to hear. If that makes sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it does. No. But how do you feel about the looking back and playing the classic older material, if you'd put it that way? Compared to playing the new stuff, do you see some of that stuff in a different light now? Do you go, oh man, if I could go back, I'd change some riffs around, or do you do that, or do you just accept it for what they are?
No, I think it's always looking forward. I think it's those records are done, and now we're basically thinking about what we do next. And to be fair, actually, if we do want to make any tiny tweaks to songs, we do it live. Like the
Yeah.
live versions have evolved a little bit on from what the album ones are, but we're not massively. It might just be tiny details or um, yeah, small textures or whatever.
Because this band, uh, you guys have always been pushing forward with big steps with every album, not little tiny ones. You're so ahead of the game. You've always been that way, from the videos, the singles. You just put so much into it. How much planning sort of goes into that before you sort of, start attacking those? Do you guys all sit together and go, how can we push the envelope?
Yeah, I mean, a lot goes into it. I mean, Amos is the big driver of a lot of the visual stuff, like and the conceptual stuff. And yeah, he puts a hell of a lot into that. Uh, he's always bringing us sort of ideas and concepts, and some of them are very out there and crazy, and some of them are, well, I mean, they're always pretty not crazy is not the right word, but ambitious is probably the right word. And then obviously we discuss them and work on them, and yeah, it's a long process. Especially from Amos's point of view. I mean, he's always thinking about where to take the visual image next, and where the story's going. And similarly with Dan's lyrics, because although he writes his lyrics separately, they always adapt and intertwine into Amos's kind of concepts and visions. And then obviously you've got the music alongside of that as well, which uh, again is a very long process. So they all sort of work side by side to come together into whatever the next thing is.
I mean, really, you guys have put, as I said, so much into it that I don't think there's any band out there that presents a whole package like you guys do. I mean, like this video game as well. I mean, how many bands do you know have their own video game that are like on that level? You know what I mean? Not just Snake on the phone, sort of, album tie-in. It's insane
Yeah.
how much has actually gone into this. That must be it must be really satisfying to know that you've got that creative freedom and you can, really push forward with each album.
Yeah, I think it's also nice. I think to have the opportunity to do all these things. It's like with the game that sort of wasn't particularly planned, but over lockdown, when Dan was doing streaming, he became friends also with gaming developers, and they started talking about these big ideas of doing various things online. And long story short, that's how it came about. It was almost by accident, but Dan's got a real passion for gaming. So when the opportunity came up to make it, he absolutely took it and ran with it. And then well, the early version was made, and the full versions will be ready in 2025, I think.
Have you played it? Have you
Um,
so
I've
far?
played the early access one, yeah. Um, yeah, in fact, my son was the first person not in the development team to complete it, which was his little claim to fame.
Oh, how old's he?
I was 13.
Okay, cool. So yeah, he would have like really,
Yeah,
you know, put his
he knew what to do.
teeth into it. Yeah, my son's 8 and he's all about, the games and stuff at the moment. So, but
Yeah, yeah.
did he dig it? Did he like it?
Yeah, he thought it was really good. And it was a good test as well to make sure it all works. And then obviously that's been rolled out. But Dan's now working on the full version, which is going to be a much bigger version of the game. Yeah, more news on that soon.
Well, but where do you go next? You know what I mean? Like video game, you got all these rad video visuals and stuff. What, like a full length movie? You know, where would you
I
want to go
mean,
creatively?
I mean, there are tons of ideas being thrown around, including like Amos is sort of writing a kind of well, dips in and out of a novel, but then which could be a script for a movie, which I know there are plenty of big ideas being thrown around, but where we're actually going to go, I can't tell you because we don't know yet.
Ah, true, true. But it's exciting. I guess that keeps it exciting for you guys. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And man, when you guys were breaking out, there was this. I don't like the word gent, but melodic progressive metal. You know what I mean? That scene, especially here, really took off. You know, guys like you and Periphery and Textures and bands like that really helped open the doors for a whole new generation of guitarists and musicians. Where do you think that genre is now and where it's headed? You know, you said there's a whole new fan base that's come through. Are you seeing them
Mm,
come up to you at shows and say, you've influenced me and this is my music and how I've interpreted it and pushing that sort of scene forward?
mm. Yeah, I mean, you got sort of younger bands who are really taking things to the next level, like the band Unprocessed that we just toured with. Like I mean, they're they're phenomenal guitar players, amazing vocalists, and doing really interesting things that is kind of taking what I guess our generation of bands have done to their next level and on their own direction. Um, but yeah, I think the internet and YouTube has really helped younger musicians as well because it's a lot easier to learn and work things out. Like in my day, if I wanted to learn a song, I'd have to go to a shop and buy a tab book, which would generally be wrong and difficult. And yeah, nowadays it's like um, lots of aspiring musicians have access to lots of information, and I think they're the ones that are definitely going to take what this generation of musicians has done to the next level, and hopefully keep it interesting. I think that's the key thing. I think it's very easy to be, well, it's not easy, but being sort of technical and crazy is one thing, but then keeping music interesting, I think, is the most important thing, and that's for every genre.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Look, kids these days, listen, kids. I think I don't
Yeah.
know how old you are, man, but I'm an old man. I'm 43.
Mm,
But I remember having to go to like an internet cafe to download really bad tabs on
mm,
Word documents, and you'd print them out, and then you'd go to sit
yeah,
down, and as you said, they'd be wrong. Like all
yeah,
the numbers would be like that, and you'd have to just try and work with what you had or your ears,
mm,
which didn't always work.
yeah. I mean, like, imagine if like Dimebag was around today and he was forced to be an influencer because he had to make money. We'd all know how he did his crazy vibrato and all. We'd all be excellent at copying Dimebag's techniques. Although sadly, yeah, we'll never ever know because he was just a bit of a crazy genius that did his own thing. And it was never
Yeah.
recorded. Well, it was recorded, but not in the same way that guitarists are recorded now, sort of with a microscope.
Oh, it's all yeah. You're right. It's under microscope, and watching these kids on TikTok and stuff doing the crazy things they're doing, and then getting into bands like what was it? Kiki just got the job with Smashing Pumpkins, and she was just on the internet doing she had a band and stuff, but she's a phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think with the internet, it sort of really helped her break through that.
Mm,
It's man, it's nuts what they're doing out there. I'm just doing
yeah.
the. But you've also got a cage fight as well, which is
Mm,
people are digging. So, a
yeah.
little bit more straight up sort of hardcore.
Mm.
So, where'd that come from?
I was a bit of an accident again. Basically over sort of lockdown, I was kicking around it was mainly like a drinking project with a mate of mine where we were just like uh playing, yeah, just writing some fun riffs together and having a laugh, and it didn't really go anywhere. Never really was meant to go anywhere. But then and Rachel, the vocalist, popped up in my newsfeed doing a cover, and I was like, oh, that voice might work quite well. So I sent her a demo, and she basically within 24 hours sent it back with her voice on it, and it worked really well, and kind of just went from there. And then we put an album out about 6 months after that moment. Oh no, we recorded it 6 months after. It wasn't released until the following year. But then off the back of that, we've been getting loads of really cool gigs, festivals, and yeah, it's a complete accident, but it's just a lot of fun. It's like the opposite of Tesseract. It's like it's a like a doesn't take the brain power, which is nice. It's nice to do something that's just fun. But it's a lot it requires a lot more stamina. It's a lot more much physically it's more physically demanding to play. So it's quite nice to have a just do something different, test your abilities in other ways.
Do you find that you notice, a lot of Tesseract t-shirts in those crowds, and those fans are acting a little different than the usual fans?
Interestingly, there's virtually no fan crossover whatsoever. It's
What?
really funny.
I find that
Yeah, it's surprising.
mate.
But yeah, no, I've seen very few Tesseract shirts at cage fight shows. It's very interesting. Yeah, no, I don't know. I guess I like a wide range of heavy music, but it turns out lots of people are quite polarized in what they like.
So do you find which is closer to you, the Tesseract stuff or the cage fight? Which, young James.
I mean, to be fair, I mean they both are. It's like when I was young, obviously I was listening to things like Slayer and Machine Head and Fear Factory and all that sort of mid-90s stuff was a big influence on my early guitar playing. But I was also listening to Dream Theater and Steve Vai, Satriani. I couldn't play like them, but I listened to them. and and so I guess I've always had an interest in heavy guitar across all the spectrums, from the progressive stuff to thrash stuff. Yeah, I was also massive into like Biohazard and Madball and all that New York hardcore stuff. But then also I guess I listen to Queensryche or um, King's Crimson or whatever, and it's like I just think I've liked heavy guitar music across the entire spectrum. So I guess in a way, Cage Fight scratches that itch that Tesseract can't.
Yeah, like the throwdowns.
Exactly.
Any chance we can see cage fight down here at some stage? Is that something?
I mean, if we ever got the opportunity, absolutely. Yeah, so if you know anyone who wants to bring us over.
Yeah, man, I'll do it. I've got no money right now, but
If you win the lottery, hit me up.
You know what? That would be so funny if I did. I'd be calling you up, going, hey man, I got some money. How much you got? $100. It was only a little bit, but hey, I got 100. No. Let's see what happens. But what's next? You come down here to hang with us, and then you said you got a big schedule, ahead. What's happening?
Yeah, we've got straight away after you, we do some Southeast Asian dates. Then we've got a couple of festivals in Europe, not many. We're just doing Radar Festival in the UK and Jera on Air in the Netherlands. And then we're having the summer off actually, which is really nice. But we're going to do the festivals properly in 2025, the European festivals, that is. But then in the autumn, we've got a couple of runs that aren't announced yet, and then we've got another one in the new year as well. Basically, just other places we need to go and play on this album. But yeah, I think finding a gap to start working on the next record is very important. I'm not quite sure when that is yet, but I started to think about that now.
Any place you haven't been yet that you're going to be hitting, do you think?
Well, I mean, we've not been to South America yet on this run, so maybe we'll be going there.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then we've not been to Antarctica. We've had no offers there yet. I don't think there are any venues there. That might be a problem.
I'm going to open one. I'm going to call it the Gorilla. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
It's relatively local to you, right? On the other side of the world.
Pretty close. Yeah, it'll just be one person comes in a year, maybe, just because they're lost. That'll be it. Be me and just a keg. That'll be it. But dude, it's been really good to catch up with you, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. See you in a few days, I guess.
Yeah, man. Yeah, super
Yeah.
pumped. Well, in the meantime, I'll have all the links on the website and in the notes down here. Hey, man, have a safe flight, and we'll see you soon.
Nice one. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bro.